So some of the things that we've really learned really in a sense, this is folk wisdom that's been known in many cultures for a long time. But now that we have scientific names for it, we believe it. But the hidden soil ecology is as important as the visible ecology above ground. So here you see some soil from a forest where it's nice and moist, and it's an old forest, and so you have all sorts of fungi and bacteria and other organisms, so that when you pick up the soil, it holds together. You know, what's holding it together is not the soil particles, but there's all sorts of little fungal roots, or hyphae technically, but we can call them roots, that are holding it together. One of the most interesting of these relationships, when I was a biology student and agricultural student back with Teddy Roosevelt, we talked about a new type of fungal relationship. It was just really being discovered then, called mycorrhizal fungi, that there were some trees that had a mysterious relationship with fungi, where the fungi wrapped themselves around the roots, or even inside the roots. I don't want to shoot the laser through your head there, but this is a poplar tree, and this is a cross-section through the root of a young root of a poplar, and inside the poplar cells, there are fungal hyphae, little single-celled fungal roots in here. This is showing a birch tree. I picked two examples of temperate trees that are common in Pennsylvania. This is a mat of fungi wrapped around the little rootlets, the young rootlets of a birch tree. And sometimes these penetrate slightly into the outer layer, sometimes they're just wrapped around the outside. But what was at one time thought to be a really marvelous and strange exception, today, 2010, is believed to probably be the rule. There's been a major paradigm shift where it is thought now perhaps there are no plants that don't have this type of a relationship under natural conditions. You know, even our most common crops are supposed to have this kind of a relationship. And what happens when this occurs is that those mats of fungi are able to draw in water and nutrients from far away. It's mutualistic, that means it's mutually beneficial. The plant feeds them sugars. About half of the sugar that's made by photosynthesis finds its way into the root. What is it all doing down there? Some of it, it turns out, is feeding these other organisms that wrap themselves around the root. Some of those also produce antibiotics. Penicillin, the penicillium fungus is one of those. And penicillium not only makes penicillin so that we could use it as an antibiotic, but it also makes it it protects the root. So the plant is feeding the fungus is bringing nutrients in, and then the fungus in turn is protecting the plant from infection. Is that cool or what? All right. Well, one of the things that this means, this is showing a young root of a plant here. Let's see, this is, it doesn't say what root it is. Okay, well anyway, it's a young root, and the mix of fungi and polysaccharides, complex sugars secreted by the plant naturally cause the soil particles to stick to the root. This is the beginning of that soil structure.
You've hit 10 minutes, Dave.
I have already?
Yes, you have.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, all right, so we'll just... Well, I'll do one or two more. This is just showing the diversity within a soil, that within a healthy root zone, you can have as much as 1,000 billion bacteria, perhaps as much as 25,000 species, all sorts of other creatures. And if you can minimize tillage and maintain biological diversity, create the habitat for those types of organisms, the soil will respond. This is an example at Rancho Ebenezer in Nicaragua. This is a field that was basically eroded. Here is using these kind of techniques of protecting the soil 3 years later. This is the ultimate, I think, in a crazy farm field. This is about 45 degrees angle, and this man is using a technique with planting a legume mulch that enriches the soil, and then killing it at the beginning of the rainy season, and then dibble planting. And underneath this, on this slope, not only is the soil not eroding, but it's enriching itself. It's turning into organic matter. You've got earthworms in there. And there's been a search for this in other places. This is research being done in Pennsylvania here showing this approach versus conventional ag. There's a similar approach going on in East Africa called Farming God's Way. There's a whole story behind that. And we reap what we sow. We input bountifully into our land, ensuring soil fertility. And we tithe to God out of the abundance. And God's blanket, the man who has promoted this, calls this, that we try to protect the soil. Some of those same principles. And so that's 10 minutes.